What if I told you that some of the most reliable trucks ever built came from companies that no longer exist? That right now, sitting in junkyards across America, are vehicles that could outperform half the trucks on dealer lots today? You're about to discover 15 truck brands that the industry wants you to forget. These weren't just random companies that made bad vehicles. These were innovators, game changers, and builders of some of the toughest trucks ever to hit the road. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why bringing just one of these brands back could shake up the entire truck market. Let's start with a name that might surprise you: Studebaker. Most people remember them for cars, but Studebaker trucks were absolute beasts. From 1902 to 1964, they built trucks that could haul anything, anywhere, anytime. The Studebaker Champ pickup wasn't just another truck. It was a workhorse that farmers and construction crews swore by. What made Studebaker trucks special was their build quality. These weren't thrown together on an assembly line. Each truck was built like it had to last forever, because back then, that's what customers expected. The company used thicker steel, better welding, and components that were over-engineered for durability. But here's what really set them apart. Studebaker was one of the first companies to offer a sliding rear window in their pickups. They also pioneered the use of fiberglass truck beds, which were lighter and more durable than steel. When other manufacturers were still figuring out basic truck design, Studebaker was already thinking about the future. The real tragedy is that Studebaker died not because their trucks were bad, but because they couldn't compete with the marketing budgets of Ford and Chevrolet. Their trucks were often better built, but they didn't have the advertising muscle to tell everyone about it. Next up is International Harvester, and this one hurts to talk about. IH trucks were legendary for their toughness. The Scout series, which ran from 1961 to 1980, was basically the grandfather of every modern SUV. But it was their pickup trucks that really showed what the company could do. International Harvester trucks had something that most modern trucks lack: character. Each one had a personality, a soul. The company didn't just build vehicles, they built tools for working people. A farmer could beat the hell out of an IH truck for 20 years, and it would keep asking for more. The IH Travelette was one of the first crew cab pickups ever made. While other companies were still making trucks that could barely fit 2 people, International was already thinking about families who needed work trucks. They were ahead of their time, in almost every way. What killed International Harvester was a combination of labor disputes and poor financial management. The company that had been building trucks since 1907 finally threw in the towel in 1975. But their trucks were so good that many of them are still running today, 40 years later. Then there's Diamond T, a company that built trucks so tough they became legends. From 1905 to 1967, Diamond T trucks were the gold standard for heavy-duty work. These weren't pretty trucks. They were built for one purpose: to work harder than anything else on the road. Diamond T trucks had a reputation that was almost mythical. Truckers would tell stories about Diamond T rigs that had hauled millions of miles without major breakdowns. Construction crews preferred them because they could handle loads that would break other trucks. Oil field workers loved them because they could go places that would stop everything else. The company's pickup trucks carried the same DNA. They were overbuilt, over-engineered, and absolutely unstoppable. A Diamond T pickup could tow loads that would make modern trucks cry. They used truck-grade components in everything, even their light-duty vehicles. Diamond T died when they merged with REO Motor Company in 1967. The merger was supposed to save both companies, but instead, it killed them both. The world lost one of the greatest truck builders ever, and we're still feeling that loss today. REO Motor Company deserves its own mention here. From 1905 to 1975, REO built trucks that were engineering marvels. The company was founded by Ransom E. Olds, the same guy who started Oldsmobile. But while Oldsmobile focused on cars, REO became obsessed with building the perfect truck. REO trucks were known for their innovative engines and transmissions. They were one of the first companies to use diesel engines in light trucks, long before anyone else thought it was a good idea. Their Speedwagon series was so reliable that it became the standard for delivery trucks across America. What made REO special was their attention to detail. Every bolt, every gasket, every component was designed to last. They didn't cut corners, and they didn't compromise on quality. When you bought REO truck, you were buying decades of reliable service. The company's downfall came from the same place as their success. They were perfectionists. While other companies were finding ways to build trucks faster and cheaper, REO was still hand-fitting components and over-engineering everything. They couldn't compete with mass production, so they slowly faded away. Now, let's talk about Autocar, a company that should be running the heavy truck market today. From 1897 to 1953, Autocar built trucks that were so far ahead of their time, it's almost scary. They were the first company to build trucks with front-mounted engines, the first to use pneumatic tires, and the first to offer electric starters. Autocar trucks were built like military vehicles. They had to be because many of them were used in World War I and World War II. The company's trucks carried supplies across Europe, hauled equipment in the Pacific, and kept the war machine running. When the military needed trucks that absolutely could not fail, they called Autocar. The company's civilian trucks carried the same military-grade build quality. An Autocar pickup could handle abuse that would destroy lesser vehicles. They were expensive, but they were worth every penny because they never quit. Autocar's mistake was focusing too much on heavy trucks and not enough on the growing pickup market. While Ford and Chevrolet were building affordable trucks for farmers and small businesses, Autocar was still building expensive, over-engineered vehicles for specialized uses. They priced themselves out of the market. Corbitt is another name that deserves respect. From 1907 to 1958, this North Carolina company built trucks that were perfectly suited for southern working conditions. Corbitt trucks could handle the heat, the humidity, and the rough roads that killed other vehicles. What made Corbitt special was their understanding of what truck buyers actually needed. They didn't try to be everything to everyone. Instead, they focused on building reliable, affordable trucks that could do the job without breaking the bank. Corbitt trucks were popular with small businesses because they offered big truck capability at pickup truck prices. A Corbitt could haul as much as trucks costing twice as much, and they were easier to maintain. The company built their reputation on giving customers more than they paid for. The company died because they couldn't expand beyond their regional market. While other manufacturers were building national dealer networks, Corbitt remained a southern company. When the truck market became national, they got left behind. Let's talk about Brockway, a company that built trucks so tough they became legends in the logging industry. From 1912 to 1977, Brockway trucks were the preferred choice for anyone who needed to haul heavy loads over impossible terrain. Brockway trucks were built like tanks. They had to be because they were used in some of the most demanding conditions imaginable. Logging crews would take these trucks into forests where roads barely existed, load them with tons of logs, and drive them back over terrain that would stop most vehicles. The company's pickup trucks inherited this toughness. A Brockway pickup could tow loads that would strain much larger trucks. They were built with heavy-duty components throughout, from the frame to the drivetrain to the suspension. Brockway's downfall came from their narrow focus. They were so good at building trucks for specific industries that they never learned how to build trucks for everyone else. When the market changed, they couldn't adapt fast enough. Now here's a name that might surprise you: Crosley. Most people remember Crosley for their small cars, but they also built some of the most innovative small trucks ever made. From 1939 to 1952, Crosley trucks were ahead of their time in almost every way. Crosley trucks were tiny, but they were incredibly efficient. At a time when most trucks got single-digit fuel economy, Crosley trucks could get over 40 miles per gallon. They were perfect for urban deliveries and small businesses that needed economical transportation. The company was also incredibly innovative. They were one of the first to use disc brakes, overhead cam engines, and unit body construction. Technologies that wouldn't become common until decades later were standard on Crosley trucks in the 1940s. Crosley died because Americans weren't ready for small, efficient trucks. This was the era of bigger is better, and Crosley's tiny trucks seemed like toys compared to full-size American trucks. If they had survived until the 1970s oil crisis, they might have dominated the market. Kaiser-Jeep deserves mention here, even though they're remembered more for Jeeps than trucks. From 1953 to 1970, Kaiser-Jeep built some of the most capable trucks ever made. Their Gladiator pickup was years ahead of its time, offering four-wheel drive and truck capability in a package that other manufacturers couldn't match. Kaiser-Jeep trucks were built for adventure. They could go places that other trucks couldn't reach, haul loads that would stop other vehicles, and keep running in conditions that would kill lesser trucks. The company understood that trucks needed to be more than just work vehicles. They needed to be capable of anything. The Gladiator pickup was particularly impressive. It offered a level of capability that wouldn't be matched by other manufacturers for decades. The truck could tow heavy loads, navigate difficult terrain, and provide comfortable transportation for a full crew. Kaiser-Jeep died when they were sold to American Motors Corporation in 1970. AMC kept the Jeep brand alive, but they let the truck expertise die. The industry lost one of its most innovative companies, and we're still feeling that loss today. Powell is a name that most people have never heard of, but they built some of the most practical trucks ever made. From 1955 to 1957, this small California company built trucks that were perfectly suited for small businesses and farmers. Powell trucks were simple, reliable, and affordable. They used proven components from other manufacturers, but they assembled them in ways that made sense for truck buyers. A Powell truck might not have been the fanciest vehicle on the road, but it would get the job done without breaking the bank. The company's pickup trucks were particularly well designed. They offered more cargo space than most competitors, better fuel economy, and lower maintenance costs. Powell understood that truck buyers wanted value, not flash. Powell died because they couldn't compete with the big manufacturers on price. As a small company, they couldn't get the same deals on components, and they couldn't spread their development costs over as many vehicles. They built better trucks, but they couldn't build them cheaply enough. Divco is another forgotten name that deserves respect. From 1926 to 1986, this company built trucks that were perfectly designed for urban delivery work. Divco trucks were the backbone of milk delivery, bread delivery, and countless other urban services. What made Divco special was their understanding of what delivery drivers actually needed. Their trucks had low step-in heights, excellent visibility, and layouts that made loading and unloading as easy as possible. Every design decision was made with the driver in mind. Divco trucks were also incredibly durable. They were designed to start and stop thousands of times per day, to be loaded and unloaded constantly, and to operate in all weather conditions. A Divco truck could handle abuse that would destroy ordinary vehicles. The company died because the delivery industry changed. As supermarkets replaced small neighborhood stores, the need for daily delivery service declined. Divco trucks were perfect for their intended purpose, but that purpose was disappearing. FWD, which stood for four-wheel drive, was another innovator that disappeared too soon. From 1909 to 1998, this company built trucks that were ahead of their time in almost every way. They were one of the first companies to offer four-wheel drive as standard equipment, not as an expensive option. FWD trucks were built for impossible conditions. They could go places that other trucks couldn't reach, haul loads that would stop other vehicles, and keep running when everything else quit. The company's trucks were used in both World Wars because they were the only vehicles that could handle the demanding conditions. The company's civilian trucks inherited this military-grade toughness. An FWD pickup could handle terrain that would challenge modern SUVs, and they could do it while carrying a full load. They were expensive, but they were worth every penny for anyone who needed maximum capability. FWD died because they couldn't adapt to changing market conditions. As four-wheel drive became common, their main advantage disappeared. They were too specialized to compete in the general truck market and too expensive to dominate niche markets. Finally, let's talk about Willys-Overland, the company that created the Jeep but also built some amazing trucks. From 1903 to 1963, Willys built vehicles that were tough, reliable, and incredibly capable. Their pickup trucks were particularly impressive, offering four-wheel drive capability decades before it became common. Willys trucks were built like military vehicles because many of them were military vehicles. The company's experience building Jeeps for World War II taught them how to build civilian trucks that could handle anything. A Willys pickup could go anywhere, haul anything, and keep running forever. The company's trucks were also incredibly practical. They offered features that other manufacturers wouldn't adopt for decades, including four-wheel drive, power takeoff systems, and heavy-duty components throughout. Willys understood that truck buyers needed capability, not luxury. Willys died when they were absorbed by Kaiser and later by American Motors. The company's truck expertise was lost in the corporate shuffles, and the industry lost one of its most innovative manufacturers. So, why did all these great companies disappear? The answer isn't simple, but it comes down to a few key factors. First, the truck industry consolidated rapidly after World War II. Small companies couldn't compete with the marketing budgets and production economies of Ford, Chevrolet, and Dodge. Second, many of these companies were too focused on building the best trucks instead of building the most profitable trucks. They over-engineered everything, used expensive materials, and focused on quality over quantity. While this made great trucks, it didn't make great profits. Third, the market changed faster than these companies could adapt. As trucks became more like cars, companies that specialized in heavy-duty work vehicles couldn't compete in the growing consumer market. They were building 1950s trucks for 1970s buyers. But here's the thing that should make every truck enthusiast angry. Many of these companies were building trucks that were better than what we have today. They were using technologies and design philosophies that modern manufacturers have forgotten. They were building trucks that lasted decades, not just until the warranty expired. The problem with today's truck market is that it's dominated by companies that care more about quarterly profits than long-term quality. Modern trucks are loaded with features that will break, electronics that will fail, and components that are designed to be replaced, not repaired. What would happen if one of these forgotten brands came back today? Imagine if Studebaker returned with their focus on build quality. Or if International Harvester came back with their understanding of what working people need. Or if Diamond T returned with their legendary toughness. The truck market is ripe for disruption. Customers are tired of trucks that break down, electronics that fail, and dealerships that don't understand their needs. There's a huge opportunity for a company that focuses on building simple, reliable, durable trucks. The technology exists to bring these brands back better than ever. Modern materials could make them even tougher. Modern manufacturing could make them more affordable. Modern design could make them more efficient. What's missing is the will to build trucks that last instead of trucks that sell. These 15 brands represent more than just automotive history. They represent a different way of thinking about trucks. They were built by companies that understood that a truck isn't just a vehicle, it's a tool. And tools need to work day after day, year after year, without fail. The shame is that this knowledge has been lost. Modern truck manufacturers have forgotten what made these brands special. They've forgotten that truck buyers want reliability over luxury, durability over features, and value over flash. But maybe that's about to change. Maybe some entrepreneur will look at these forgotten brands and realize what we've lost. Maybe they'll bring back the focus on quality, the attention to detail, and the understanding of what truck buyers actually need. Maybe one of these brands will rise from the ashes and show the industry what trucks should be. Maybe they'll remind us that bigger isn't always better, newer isn't always improved, and that sometimes the best ideas are the old ideas done right. The truck industry needs these brands back. Not as museum pieces or collector items, but as working trucks that can handle whatever life throws at them. Trucks that are built to last, designed to work, and priced to sell to people who actually need them. Click the video appearing on your screen to see other vintage car-related videos, and don't forget to subscribe.